Yeah.
Let's go ahead and have a quarterback battle.
Yeah.
All the other organizations that needed a QB passed on this man. Denver had one in place. Oddly enough, Tebow beat him out and was able to take the team to the playoffs. Dude, he was not a bust.
Yeah.
He was not a bust.
So let's stop with that. Stop with the look. I teased Tim Tebow about being a pub hound, but the dude wasn't a bust. He had a damn good career in the NFL.
Yeah.
So let's just put that to rest. So we're going to move from the NFL to tennis. So why are we talking about tennis? Why the hell you Negroes talking about tennis? Well, I'll tell you why. There's a tournament happening here in Cincinnati, Ohio, actually in Mason, suburb of Cincinnati, called the Western and Southern Open. And one of the participants in the Western Southern Open is Naomi Osaka. That Naomi Osaka who took a leave of absence, if you will, from the French Open and Wimbledon to focus on the mental health issues. Now, before we delve in, we've done a podcast segment on this when it went down at the French Open, during the French Open. And as is the case then, we are still in support of Naomi Osaka.
Yes.
Taking care of her mental health needs. And that goes without saying. So this is not that's not going to be a tournament on any of our parts. We're still in agreement with what she did. We still applaud her for what she did, than what other people say outside of tennis or whatever, right? This is the thing is what got me is she talked to the media basically via Zoom for the first time since all that went down, right? Outside the Olympics. And so being in Cincinnati, she was like, one of the things that couple of things that took place. A, she was in tears because of this question regarding the earthquake in Haiti. Someone asked her about Haiti and the earthquake, and she's obviously just half Haitian, half Japanese. So when she broke down, because she's talking about her dad's people, right? Her dad's relatives. And so she broke down, and so she was still the reporter who asked that question said, "I'm sorry, my bad." And so she said, "No, you're super cool," right? So basically, she goes and answers that question. But the main one was a gentleman from the Cincinnati Enquirer by the name of Paul Doherty, one of my favorite columnists in sports, period, not just here in the area. He asked her a question where a lot of people were probably going to be wondering if that question is going to get asked, or who's afraid to ask it, and that is regarding her deal with the media and having a platform in social media. So this is what the quote was from Paul Doherty. Quote, "You're not crazy about dealing with us being the media, especially in this format. Yet you have a lot of outside interests that are served by having a media platform that is a social media platform. So this question was, how do you find a balance between the two?" And so Osaka asked him to repeat the questions, which he did. And so what happened was she kind of struggled answering in terms of like finding the words in the media. The moderator was like, "Do you need to take a break?" And so they came back. Everyone regrouped, and she was like, she just went on to answer the question, I should say, in a very honest manner. So Osaka's agent later called the reporter a bully, and which led me to go back and watch the Zoom exchange on Zoom. And to me, Paul Doherty asked the question that any seasoned reporter would ask. It's like, okay, you don't enough comfortable doing like press conferences, even if it's via Zoom. But you have this platform which requires you to use a lot of social media and use the media to serve to actually share your platform, to share your interests, to share your views. So he was just asking, how do you balance it? How do you find a balance in that, right? And so he published a column on the Cincinnati Enquirer in response to this, which I thought was very, very interesting. And it's basically he titled this, Paul Doherty, he titled this, "Naomi Osaka is honest, thoughtful, and could help many other athletes." How does that translate to him being a bully?
That I don't know, Scott, and that's why I find it so interesting. Because of course, you brought this to my attention. I still haven't watched the video, and I will as soon as we get off, because I want to see exactly how this exchange went down. And the reason why I'm super curious about it is because the writer says one thing, but there's a lot of response from the rest of the media that feels completely different. Now I'm reading this from Eurosport.com. They follow tennis and other sports, and his reporter's name is James Walker Roberts, that referred to the question as being aggressively toned. And then he goes on to say that well, not just Walker Roberts, but there's another reporter who was there by the name of Ben Rothenberg, who tweeted out, well, that went well for a while until it didn't. And it followed up with another tweet that said 4 cues in or so went smoothly. Naomi was doing well. Then someone from the Cincinnati Enquirer asked her a fairly aggressive tone question about how she benefits from high media profile, but doesn't like talking to the media. Osaka tried to engage, but after her answer began crying. And then, of course, Osaka tweeted out, "Thank you for everyone who stayed and watched my practice at Cincinnati Tennis. I was really nervous because it was my first time practice in front of a lot of people since COVID started, but it was really nice to see everyone out again." Okay, so that was basically her talking about her appearance. But yeah, her agent also said, and you alluded to it earlier, let me see if I can find that quote one more time. Yeah, the bully at the Cincinnati Enquirer is the epitome of why player media relations are so fraught right now. Everyone on Zoom will agree that his tone was all wrong and his sole purpose was to intimidate. Really appalling behavior. And the fact that everyone else sees it one way, and the reporter from the Enquirer, and as well as your own assessment of Osaka's response, seems to be something completely different. So I'm going to have to watch this to have my own take on this situation. Not to say that either one's interpretation of it is completely wrong, because I know a lot of people are going to look at it with whatever type of eye they're going to look at it. And I know a lot of people are going to be extremely sensitive to a lot of different things, especially as it pertains to Osaka and her relations with the media now, based upon everything that happened when she made her announcement. But yeah, for everyone to have polarizing views on how this thing was done, I'm going to say that everyone look at it and also read the reporters from the Cincinnati Enquirer's article to get his perspective as well.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. Yeah, so I would encourage you to look at, if you're able to listen to the Zoom and also read Paul Doherty's response on the Cincinnati Enquirer. Reading it again, I mean, I found it to be, I don't think he was being defensive at all against her. If anything, he praised her in that article. So yeah, it's very tricky, especially what's happened, to your point, with Naomi Osaka this year. But again, reading it, I would encourage anyone out there to read Paul Doherty's article. The title's called "Naomi Osaka is Honest, Thoughtful, and Could Help Many Other Athletes." And just do a search for that and just make y'all's conclusions, and watch the press conference you can, watch it and make your own conclusions. Because I don't want to see, again, I'm not changing my mind about Naomi Osaka. I think she's dope. I think she did a good thing by minding her own mental health. Damn everybody else. I still am in support of all that. That has not changed. I just don't want people out there to throw the reporter under the bus for doing his job.
Of course.
Because it's a question that you knew someone was going to ask her that. He just happened to do it. And he's old school. He's been around for 34 years. He dealing with the Bengals and the Reservoir team. So, I mean, that doesn't count as anybody. I don't know what does. But anyway, especially the Bengals. But the point is that I don't know. Shout out to the Bengals fans here. But I just didn't I didn't have a problem with Paul Doherty's question. I just don't have a problem with it. So anyway,
I'll say this though, but in closing, cancel culture is dangerous, right?
Yes, it is. I'm glad you
And
said
I'm not pointing any fingers at nobody.
that.
I'm not saying anyone's done anything because I haven't seen it yet,
Sure.
and I haven't taken my own personal assessment. But just as a whole, stuff that we've seen for the past year and a half, yeah, cancel culture is very dangerous, everybody. And we need to be a whole lot more cognizant about how judgmental we're going to be about anyone, especially for people who are doing their jobs. That's all I'm gonna say, dude.
And well said, especially a guy in the media like you now. So well said.
I ain't never scared. I say stuff, and I know sometimes it's gonna come off and sounding off left.
I ain't never scared. I ain't never scared. No. Okay. But
and all I know is within the next couple of weeks, I'm gonna start saying some stuff that a whole lot of people probably won't like. But hey, deal with it.
There you go. That's the media. You gotta do your job. You gotta do your damn job.
Yeah, just do
your job.
And my thing is this, right? Because I know a lot of times, especially as it pertains to the media, especially media and sports, a lot of times we could just be a lot of people expect us to say things to be incendiary.
Yeah.
I may say incendiary things, but they're things that I believe in.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that people may not, agree with the stuff that I believe in, but all I'll say is match up what I'm saying with facts,
right?
And see what you walk away with. And if what I'm saying is false, and you call me out about it being false, you know what? I always publicly will come out and say when I'm wrong. But when I'm not wrong, ooh, boy,
that's when the pettiness comes out.
Ooh, you gotta hush your mouth. Hustle your mouth.
Oh man. And with that note, we'll